Good morning, everyone. This is Karl F. Rose recording from Bedford, Pennsylvania on Monday, January 6th, 2020. And before we get going on the podcast, let me give my disclaimer here. Okay, if you're 13 or under, please leave this podcast now. It's not kid content. Again. Okay, and let me start off with my music here. Okay, as you know, this was a wild card weekend this past weekend for the NFL playoff games, and as many of you know, I am formerly a Lions fan, but I am now a Buffalo Bills fan, and after watching the Buffalo Bills game versus the Texans, it's obvious that the NFL is rigged. And even the games yesterday on Sunday were rigged as well. I'll talk about that in a little bit, but let's focus on the Bills game. They're one and done. The Bills, the first half of the game, the Bills played just like on my main video. Oh, if you're new to this podcast or new to my channel, please hit the subscribe button and the bell notification. Also on my homepage, on my YouTube homepage, I have Karl's Corner Podcast. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and that bell notification, and that way you get notified of all my podcasts, plus all my other videos, and all the links to my other playlist, sports and that sort of stuff are in the description in the video here, so please go and check those too. Anyway, back to the game. Okay, first half. Like I said on my main video, if the Bills controlled the clock, run the ball, Josh Allen throws darts, that sort of thing, they would win the game. They were doing just that in the first half. Now, what the heck happened in the second half is it was brought into overtime strictly for the advertising money. That's all basically what it is. The networks wanted Houston to win. That was how it was determined. That's how things work. Josh Allen threw the game away, running backwards, flipping the ball all over the place. You can't tell me that he is that bad of a quarterback. He's not. This was all designed by the networks. And to start off, here's how it went. It was not going their way. So the very first play, at the very least, on the opening and the second part of the second half, when the Houston Texan, when he flipped the ball forward, he didn't even flip it. He was in the end zone on the kickoff. He didn't flip it towards the official. He flipped it forwards. Technically, by the NFL rules, that's an illegal forward pass in the end zone, and it's a dead ball, and it's a safety. That should have been 2 points. The referees blew. But here's the part that was the why it was so messed up. The referee got it wrong. They called it a touchdown. Buffalo got all excited. See, sports is an emotional game. They didn't want Buffalo to win because that's just the way it is. They never want Buffalo to win. And it's rigged against Buffalo that way. So the referee purposely calls touchdown. Buffalo gets all excited. And then they have the huddle, and then they say it's a touchback. It should have been a safety, but they call it a touchback. That deflated all. Buffalo was wavering. They didn't end the first half very good, but they wanted to put the nail in the coffin, which they did by that. They got Buffalo all excited when they called the touchdown. If that would have been stayed as a touchdown, or even if they would have correctly called it as a safety, that would have given Buffalo momentum, and more than likely they would have won the game. But they didn't want that. So they inaccurately called it a touchdown and then took it away. That deflated all the emotion out of Buffalo and boosted. Then J.J. Watt came into the play. And then, as I said in my video, that if Josh Allen fumbles, they will lose the game. Well, what happens? He fumbles. And then they try and come back, and he's running backwards. Why is he running 20 or 30 yards backwards? I mean, he is not that stupid. He's not an idiot. This was just so obviously thrown. They need to be, there needs to be an investigation on this, because Josh Allen purposely lost the game. Purposely. Somebody's getting paid somewhere. And this is totally unacceptable. You can't tell me. They're trying to say, and then back to the kickoff part. The ESPN commentators are trying to force feed us garbage by saying common sense, common sense, common sense. They have no common sense. They have words that I don't want to use on the air for brains. Fill that in with dollar signs, and you know what I'm saying. They must think that the average fan there in front of the TV is absolutely, utterly stupid. And maybe they are, because maybe most of the people are so drunk from their beer watching it, because they're such stupid idiots that they believe this garbage. It's total garbage. The Buffalo Bills are a better team, and they wanted their boy, what's his name? Watson, the quarterback. He's their golden boy in that game. The Texans aren't going to win the next game, but they wanted it. The Texans were the preferred team over this because of Watson. They wanted to have it set that Josh Allen is inexperienced. Give me a break. Josh Allen is better than what people. Yes, he does have his flaws. He overthrows balls quite a bit. He has errors, and I talk about that in my Buffalo stuff. But he will get better. But right now, he's not their golden boy. It'll be interesting to see what happens when Rodgers and Brady retires, because I'm expecting Brady to retire probably if he doesn't if he's not picked up by the Patriots or another team, he'll more than likely retire, and Rodgers is done. So then, who's going to be their golden boy? So they gotta find somebody. And it's more than likely going to be Lamar Jackson from Baltimore, or this Watson guy from Houston. But he was their guy. That's what I'm getting at. This was 16-0, and then they just this is just so obvious. Anyway, and then okay, I'm done with that. Let's talk about the other games here. Seattle and Minnesota, New Orleans and Minnesota, that was another rigged game. The Saints by far had a far superior team than the Vikings, but for whatever reason, they didn't want the Saints in there. And this was all set up. Kirk Cousins is not a very good quarterback. But they propped him up, and the Vikings won. And then as soon as Carson Wentz went down there in the Seattle, I figured Seattle was going to win the game anyway, but they put the exclamation point on it when purposely got Carson Wentz injured with the head injury, and then Seattle win. And you can't tell me this injury, that play was designed. He got hit, and he got hit in the head, and that was no accident. Got him out of the game, and that sealed the deal, because Philadelphia could if Carson Wentz could have stayed in the game, Philadelphia could have won. So they needed to get him out. That's how they did it. Anyway, again, if you like these podcasts, be sure to hit the subscribe button and hit the bell notification on my YouTube channel. Go over to Karl's Corner Podcast. You'll get updates for all my Monday morning podcasts. And We will talk to you again next time. Um, and if the next week's games are this ridiculous, trust me, I'll be talking about that again. See you on the next one.